Hello, my name is Nathan Cho. I'm a senior at STEM School Highlands Ranch, and this capstone presentation goes over a plan that I've developed which highlights all necessary skills, procedures, and precautions that will need to be successful in my transition from high school to college and beyond. Well, first off was the college admissions essay. Uh, there were a lot of them, but I'll focus on the common application. And the Common App allowed me to share some of the skills that I wanted to highlight, which were critical thinking and my determination to find a solution. And this was applied to all the schools that I want to go to, including MIT, College, School of Mines, and Caltech. And in my essay, I talked about some project that I did with a friend, Kyle, which we decided one night to get together and build a RC plane straight from scratch. And this was after looking around my basement, seeing all this cardboard. So we simply got to building. Once we got a prototype, you could call, ready by that night, we took to the garage and threw it to see if it would even glide. But it did end up crashing, but there was a little bit of promise. Uh, so we decided to keep doing this and eventually get more advanced, like adding a motor and plenty of other things. And I highlighted this journey in my common application essay to just show how I really like the engineering side, which I got into later in the different parts of the application, and also how I would work with a team to achieve my goal. And another examples of me exemplifying these skills would be fixing the steering column shaft on my 1986 Alfa Romeo Spider Graduate, which was a project car I got this summer. And I too wrote a lot of short responses about that car and my engineering endeavors with that. And my other examples would be making engineering solutions for robots in clubs such as Best Robotics. During my research for the jobs that I wanted to pursue, I decided to focus on two main things, which were aerospace and an automotive specialty technician. And for an aerospace, I would have to, of course, be very well versed in math and other programs such as CAD and other programming scripts. And most people have a bachelor's degree. A good do have a master's, but not too many get into this field with just an associate's. However, for an automotive special technician, which was a class I have been taking at ACC, some of their basic duties would include inspecting vehicles for damage and recording findings so that necessary repairs can be made. And this would be specific to whatever car company you end up working for if you do specialize. And almost half have about a post-secondary certificate. Uh, Most have a good deal have high school diploma or equivalent, and some even have not a high school diploma. So it's a easy field to get into the workforce and very great to climb the ladder and specialize on your own later. So their space engineer would use to like AutoCAD and MathWorks, which is a hard skill, and some daily tasks uh, are, like I said before, fine to when you're contracted to make such a design for a customer. The starting salary is about 99K, and long term, it goes up to around 130. So to get to these jobs, there are a few schools in mind that are exceptionally well, and that would be Caltech, and along with MIT, your GPA and SAT score have to be very much in the 99th percentile, or or around there. Very, very competitive schools. So those would be my dream schools, and they would be great fits for me, and that would be where I would go for these programs, engineering programs. So financial literacy. Uh, there are quite a few things that I wanted to keep in consideration to not per se plan out my life step by step, but to just get an idea of how I should be spending my money. And that included housing, which I chose a small one-person apartment, and it's a decent living space and would be close to where I would want to go. And car payments, I would either be driving my own car that I have right now or use public transportation if it's in a big city. And then on the investment side, after college, I will be working towards saving my money to buy properties to grow my asset column for multiple sources of income. And this is a graph I made that took into consideration all these different kinds of factors that would determine how financially successful I was. And one of the graphs that show this is how much money, if which isn't always as linear, you would be making investments and making big purchases. But this savings column, the savings graph would show that it would be a good track to follow to achieve a good retirement at the end of the road. Lastly, for my problem solving, I asked my mom about how she balanced things like her work life and college, which she said that traveling did help for her. And I remember going to trips with her, and pursuing something that's meaningful was something that was meaningful for my mom, which since it was a dream job to be an art teacher, and she's doing quite well with that. And in investing, uh, she did talk about how she first got into real estate and is still into real estate to keep growing that asset. And for a self-development project, I really just want to get good sleep, and things I would do to prepare myself to get that quality sleep I would greatly benefit from in college and after college. So the first thing I did was getting into reading, and I chose a book that I was greatly interested in, which was Rich Dad Poor Dad. And this was my tactic to lengthen the time between my screen time and hitting the hay, so my eyes aren't as strained and I get the best preparation for sleep. And then I continued that, but then I also changed where I read, so I'm the most comfortable and I am as sleepy as possible after I'm finished reading. And to aid in that even further, I looked into some melatonin pills to get me to sleep faster and to stay asleep for longer. And my best train of thought from there was to combine the two, was to read and take a melatonin thing before I started reading. And by the time I was finished reading, I would be sleepy. And this I found showed to be the most successful, and I got the best sleep using that method. And that is my capstone presentation. Thank you.